SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Your community, your neighbors, your bank. At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're more than just a place to keep your money. We're part of the family. From home loans to business accounts, we're here to help you grow. Farmers and Merchants Bank. Local, trusted. Right here with you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. I want you to believe me, baby. I have lots of fun.
Hey, good morning. What's up? Welcome. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. We have made it to the middle of the week, which means the weekend is just around the corner, which means the start of college baseball season, which means a basketball game between Mississippi State and Ole Miss for the second time this year, which maybe means more cleaning up in your yard. I don't know. But we don't have to wish away the rest of the week. We can enjoy the rest of the week before we get to the weekend. Thrilled to be with you this morning. Looking forward to your messages on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Excuse me, 601-879-4395 is the number for you if you want to join in the conversation at 601-879-4395. I think the power blinked overnight, Lance, and so I'm like trying to get all my screens back how they're supposed to be, and not everything's cooperating exactly.
That's never fun.
What's up, man?
Man, just hanging in there, dog. Gonna get a little. Well, I don't know if we'll get any rain, but it was dripping around this morning in the central Mississippi area. So if you're headed to work this morning, beware. Maybe take a rain slicker or something because you may get wet. It wasn't coming down though. It was just little random drips. So I think it's in the forecast, but
it is.
It's about 100 degrees out there today, though, man. Goodness gracious. Oh, it's 70 degrees coming out the door almost. So.
Yeah, and it's one of those...
Sticky.
That's exactly right. It's thick. It's sticky. Not like middle of the summer, heat, humid, just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Kind of...
Tacky.
Kind of yucky out there. So since we're talking weather, why don't we? New Albany, showers this morning for you, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. 59 for the high. A little breeze out of the northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour, so whatever humidity is there may kind of ease on out or get blown on out. Louisville, you've got cloudy skies with a slight chance of a rain shower today. 63 for your high with a breeze out of the north and northwest. A little farther south, Brookhaven, showers this morning, cloudy this afternoon, 73. You want to wear the short pants today? Nobody's probably going to judge you. Winds light and variable, only about a 40% chance of rain. And it's going to be 78 today in Van Cleve, cloudy early, and then going to clear off with some partial sunshine later in the day. Winds out of the west and southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Not a bad day in Van Cleve. That is your forecast across the state of Mississippi. How about that? Between north central Mississippi, New Albany, and Van Cleve in the southeast part of the state, about a 20-degree swing with the high temperatures.
You're not going to get if it's 60 degrees in New Albany. It was 66 or 7 already this morning here. But, yeah, it always seems that it's 5 or 10 degrees.
Yeah.
A difference from up there to about where we are here. And then a little bit warmer as you go south. And it's like it's all downhill to the coast, I don't know. It just seems like the drive to the coast is always so much easier when you're headed there. Is it because it's downhill Or do you think it's because you're excited? And then when you leave, you're like, man, we got to go home.
That's a little bit of a brain pretzel for this morning. I'm going to think on that just a little bit. Maybe it is a downhill drive. Just look at it on the map. See, you're going down.
Yeah, you're going downhill.
Maybe somebody smarter than me, like Thomas Edison, needs to figure that out. He was born on this day in 1847, the legendary American inventor and businessman, holder of over 1,000 patents, credited with developing the practical incandescent light bulb. Wonder what he'd think about all this LED stuff.
He's like, you're not going to make enough money on it.
The phonograph, the motion picture camera, and a whole lot more. Often called the Wizard of Menlo Park, Thomas Edison. I don't know who often calls him that. I never have, but I'll go with that. Jennifer Aniston, born on this day in 1969, the iconic actress best known for her role as Rachel Green from Friends, plus she had some other major roles, including The Morning Show. That was an Apple TV television show, Marley and Me, Office Christmas Party, beloved Hollywood star. Sheryl Crow, born on this day in 1962, Grammy Award winner, famous for hits like All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun, and If It Makes You Happy, and Soak Up the Sun. Her rock and pop style make her a standout in music. She stands up for causes, too. Maybe not ones that you and I align with. Maybe they do. Sheryl Crow, really talented. Wasn't she with Lance Armstrong for a little while?
Yeah, she was like 32, and she was, I think, 41. I think she said pretty much the moment she met him, she was like, yep, this is my guy.
Okay. Yeah. They're not still together, though.
No. I mean, once all the wheels popped off, so to speak,
once
of
he
his
lied
bicycle.
to everybody else, she was included in the
she
people.
pretty much like, I'm done.
Yeah. Natalie Dormer, young actress, born on this day in 1982. I'm going to call anybody born in 1982 young, by the way. Roles Marguerite Tyrell in Game of Thrones. Anne Boleyn in The Tudors. Had roles in The Hunger Games as well. Strong, complex characters, kind of her go-to. Here's a guy that's played some strong and complex characters. Damian Lewis, British actor. Starred in Homeland, won an Emmy there. Band of Brothers, Wolf Hall. Billions. Did you watch Billions?
Not really. I mean, I was a big Band of Brothers fan, so I thought he did an amazing job.
Oh, he's outstanding there. Yeah. Outstanding. But Billions. Oh, man, you'd like it, I think.
It's hard to get into, long-running things for me. I kind of lose my attention span on them somewhere.
So you don't like to binge watch a series?
Nah. Okay. I mean, I can get through a few episodes and I'm like, all right, I'm done.
That's fair. Played David Axelrod in that. I guess it's a character that's loosely based on Howard Lutnick.
Okay. In Billions, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taylor Lautner, American actor, rose to fame as Jacob Black in the Twilight Saga, had roles in action and comedy films, teen heartthrob in the late 2000s and early 2010s. And how about Burt Reynolds, born in 1936?
That's my guy right there now. Come on.
Smokey and the Bandit, Deliverance, Boogie Nights, The Longest Yard. Just keep on naming them.
Oh, there's, just absolute string of hits in there, too.
Oh, man.
And there's so many good ones. Like Gator is such a great movie. White Lightning is such a great movie from the 70s. And it just keeps rolling. I mean, he just goes on and on and on through the years. And City Heat, Cannonball Run, too. I mean, they're just Malone. I love them all, man. Anytime there's a Burt Reynolds movie, I'm jumping in. Even Rent-A-Cop, I'll watch that.
You more of a Cannonball Run or Smokey and the Bandit kind of guy?
I like them both. I mean, I've seen them both so many times. It's like if somebody asked me if I like Any Which Way But Loose or Any Which Way You Can better with Clint Eastwood, I don't know. Both of them,
Better mustache, Tom Selleck or Burt Reynolds?
That's all I can say is they both pull it off extremely well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Selleck's the answer.
He's got to be, but I mean, yeah. It was much more of a full, thick mustache, kind of an 80s mustache. Mm-hmm. Whereas Burt had one through the ages on and off.
That's right. Tom Selleck never really shaved his, did he?
I'm pretty much here and there you would see him, but I mean most of the times you see him in movies, he's going to have the stash.
This day in 1990, Nelson Mandela released from Victor Verster prison in South Africa after 27 years of imprisonment. The iconic moment symbolized the beginning of the end of apartheid and led to his election as South Africa's first black president. That would happen in 1994. In 1979, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's followers seized power in Iran following the Iranian Revolution. After Khomeini's return from exile, the Iranian military stood aside, paving the way for the establishment of the Islamic Republic. Turned out not to be a great day in global history.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, just, We're just going with the understatements this morning.
Yes, sir. Underselling.
More of what happened on this day, plus some news headlines when we come back with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
10 years on the road, picking one-night stands, speeding my young life away. Tell me one more time, so I'll understand.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
The monitor switch lets you hear
Breaking news.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
I was a dam builder across a river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into
Good to be with you this morning. Richard Cross, Lance Tolbert. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. From the 901 this morning, we get this message on the C Spire text line. Richard, I believe you're in Oxford, Mississippi, where it is 505 feet above sea level. The sea is, it's at sea level. So, downhill the whole way.
Yeah, exactly. You just get on a bicycle and...
just a wagon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just sit there.
All I got to do is steer that bad boy, and we'll be at Ocean Springs in a few hours.
Yeah. That's always been my theory. As a kid, I was like, it's downhill, right, Mom?
Yeah.
She didn't know what I was. She was like, what are you talking about? Isn't it downhill to the beach from where we live? What? Mm-hmm. Supposed to get there faster.
James in Oxford says, good morning. Good morning to you as well, James. We appreciate it very much. Gator.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, man.
Okay.
I love Gator. That and White Lightning. They kind of go together.
Okay. Somebody reminded us about Cannonball Run.
Yes, sir. Now, there's a Cannonball, but you can't, if you're looking for it, there's Cannonball 1 and 2. Then there's a Cannonball movie that's David Carradine in it, totally unrelated. But it is a car racing movie because Cannonball was actually a race that they did for a long time.
Yeah.
It was real, and they had to get rid of it, obviously.
Gary Tishomingo points out Gunsmoke?
He was a character in Gunsmoke, yeah. Burt was.
Really?
Mm-hmm. If I remember, it was early years. No mustache.
Born in 1936.
Played a little football, too. Was it Florida State?
Yes.
Broke a leg.
Correct. Well, The Longest Yard was such a good one.
Oh, man, goodness. And that was actually a good remake, I thought. Stroker Ace, good movie. Semi-Tough with Chris Christopherson, another great movie.
Margaret Thatcher was elected leader of the British Conservative Party on this day in 1975, becoming the first woman to lead a major political party in the United Kingdom. Later, the country's first female prime minister as well.
The Iron Lady.
The Iron Lady. 30 years before that, the Yalta Conference concluded. Allied leaders FDR, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin signing agreements on the post-war reorganization of Europe, including the division of Germany and plans for free elections in liberated nations.
That was a really rough meeting, I'm sure. after all that you'd gone through, and then looking at this map and going, all right, who's rebuilding what here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got this, I got that, and didn't really work out the way they hoped. Yalta was always a little bit kind of a teeter-tot type thing where it was very precarious, I should say, as we moved forward that way.
Yeah.
And then communism spread.
And
you
the United
blame
States
the French.
spent a lot of money, too.
You got to blame the French a little bit in there, too, because they were kind of overrun by the communists. And, all their Southeast Asian colonies started revolting, and they showed back up and didn't really work out very well for them. So that really kind of stirred the pot of communism as far as, the Third World and the proxy wars that started after that.
Yeah. The 6 o'clock hour turning into naming every movie in which Burt Reynolds has ever been a player or been had a role.
Well, they're all good, so I guess you can just name them.
1858, 14-year-old Bernadette Suberus reported her first vision of the Virgin Mary in Lourdes, France. The event sparked the famous Marian apparitions, leading to the creation of the Sanctuary of Our Lady of the Lourdes, which turned into a major pilgrimage site. How about this? 1938, the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, broadcast Karel Capek's play R.U.R. It was Rossum's Universal Robots, marking the world's first science fiction television program and popularizing the word robot in the English language. 1929, that is the year that the Lateran Treaty was signed, recognizing Vatican City as an independent sovereign state within Rome and resolving long-standing tensions between the Italian government and the Catholic Church. If you have ever been inside the walls of the Vatican, you have technically left the country of Italy and gone into the country of Vatican City. I guess. I don't know that it's a country, but it is its own sovereign state. Just walk across the street.
Pretty good bank, too, I think.
They keep it all in the basement.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bank there.
Think they got their own printing press?
I'm sure they do. I believe they've got probably printing presses from hundreds of years ago. They could just pull it back out and recast whatever they wanted down in the coffers of the Vatican.
Kelly in Florence says good morning. Kelly, good morning to you. Thank you so much for reaching out. Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry signed a redistricting bill that favored his party back in 1812, giving rise to the term gerrymandering. Just in case you wondered where that one came from, a blend of his name and salamander due to the oddly shaped district.
No, and that's a really...
Elbridge, Gerry, and a salamander, hence gerrymandering.
Yeah, that's pretty good there.
Bend it how you like it. Couple more. The Pennsylvania Hospital in Philadelphia opened in 1752, becoming the first hospital established in the American colonies. Benjamin Franklin, largely behind that.
Probably a line at the door, too, you'd imagine, like in 1752.
Wait, you're going to heal this cut? Some of those names that we have bandied about through history as significant, they kind of were. We talked about Thomas Edison. He kind of had his hands on everything in the late early 1800s. Pretty sharp dude. Benjamin Franklin, not overrated.
No, not overrated.
Founding fathers, pretty smart fellas. Pretty good stuff. Finally, 660 BC, 660 BC, the traditional date for the founding of Japan by Emperor Jimmu, the legendary first emperor, still celebrated in Japan as National Foundation Day, though it's largely mythological. I don't know if the kids in Japan get out of school today or not. I guess it depends on whether or not they had an ice storm the last 2 weeks and whether or not they got any days to make up.
Well, so is it real? Is Jimmu real, or is it a legend? I mean, 660 BC is not that long ago. I mean, and really, you'd think they'd have some written records. I mean, their records go back forever. So that's interesting that it's more mythological.
Yeah. All right, news headlines for you this morning. Thousands remain without power in northern Mississippi more than 2 weeks after the late January ice storm, which caused widespread tree damage, outages affecting hundreds of thousands. At least 29 deaths statewide. Ole Miss opening earlier this week. They received approval for about $10 million in cleanup. Rural areas like Yellowbusha County, parts of Panola County still facing significant hardships with a number of power outages. The federal disaster declaration request by Governor Tate Reeves, initially approved by Washington at $39.1 million. I talked to somebody a couple of days ago. He's like, this $39 million, is like, we got 45, 50 counties affected. That's not enough to cover Lafayette County. As I understand it, when you get into the major disaster declaration piece, you have to be very, very specific about that which you ask coverage for. Like, you've got to be able to document it. And if I remember correctly, when Governor Reeves issued the statement about that disaster declaration, they said there could be more to come. And there is an expectation that there absolutely will be more to come. Mississippi Senate approved legislation that would make entering the state as an undocumented immigrant a felony, punishable by imprisonment, while requiring the Department of Public Safety to collect identifying information on undocumented individuals. It's a tough immigration measure and has sparked debate amid national discussions on border policy. Top Republican lawmakers confirmed that federal funding cuts under President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill have made Medicaid expansion unaffordable and unfeasible this year, killing related bills early in the session and impacting ongoing health care access debates in a state with high uninsured rates. Quick timeout. We've got sports headlines, your morning sports update coming up in just a moment. Some few other news headlines as well. MRC, thanks for joining us to start your day. It's Wednesday, February the 11th. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank.
And I won't back down.
From
RC Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show. Check it out.
SuperTalk, Mississippi.
And I'm tired of taking blame when I ain't done nothing wrong. I'm tired of other people trying to take what's mine. And I'm tired of y'all playing dress up and trying to sing them old country songs. Oh, now some days you kill it.
Welcome back. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. And Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your very first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. Man, there's one sports update story that I can't wait to get to. But we're going to wait for a moment, just for a moment. A couple more news headlines for you. Mississippi received final federal approval for its broadband expansion plan under the BEAD program, aiming to connect underserved areas. Big deal. Going to be really expensive, but the idea here is that every nook and cranny in the entire state of Mississippi will have access to broadband, to high-speed internet. Unthinkable 7 years ago?
2 years ago, I would say, yeah. I mean, it's so much of the state is so rural, so difficult to get to.
We're seeing it in the power restoration project timeline. And a lot of the fiber is going to be from scratch. Now, we'll say in terms of the fiber, you're not having to necessarily... Sometimes installing it for the first time is easier than having to go back and fix it. A lot of it's aerial. Some of it's buried. It changes everything. I mean, you think about it. Even if, like, when you were a kid, if your grandparents lived in the country and you lived in town, you might have had cable in town, but they didn't have cable all the way out in the country. They had to go to either had a satellite dish or they had an antenna. And then you move forward a while and, well, yeah, they had cable at Grandma and Grandpa's house. They didn't have internet, though. We had to be in town. We had to be in the city for that. I mean, it does not matter where. And there are some places in Mississippi, Lance can attest to this better than most, that are in the sticks. Like a full-on can't get there from here.
Well, and, you know, I love those places, too. And
yeah.
Mississippians love it. It's an outdoor state. I mean, I'm one of the big fans of the high-speed internet wherever. I'd like to work wherever I am. You know, whenever you get a chance to sit there under the beautiful blue sky and sun and a duck blind and you can get some work done when the ducks aren't flying, man, I'm in. Count me down for that.
A pair of bills reforming Mississippi's liquor laws have been approved by the state's House of Representatives. One piece of legislation would allow liquor sales on Sunday. The other would permit the direct shipment of alcohol to homes. I'm pausing because I'm trying to decide whether to say something that may anger someone that worked hard to get the wine to homes bill done a year ago. Man, that was the biggest window dressing, fake excitement, fake outrage thing that it is such a hassle for both the shipper and the receiver, and so expensive. It still isn't like it. We couldn't just pass a law that we're like, yeah, you want wine shipped to your house from Paso Robles, from the Sonoma Valley, from Napa? Sure. Let them send it. We had to make it where there were so many hoops to jump through. The person on the sending end, I'm not doing all that. I'm not getting that license and paying the 15.5% sales tax. That's stupid. And it was dumb. But we were able to go, well, we got wine where you can be shipped to your house, and everybody was able to champion it.
We've come a long way,
But the
right?
people that were opposed to it made... What? Was it Jeremy England that wrote that bill? And I'm not knocking what he did to get it passed, but he had to write it in a way that was so onerous to satisfy the needs of the people who are like, we're against this, that it's like, what's the point in even having it? We need to have a year later follow-up conversation about the shipping wine to the home conversation, because it might as well still be illegal to do that in Mississippi. House Bill 672, authored by Representative Brent Powell, would let elected officials in wet cities and counties, or ones that allow liquor sales in general, to approve an ordinance granting licensed retailers the ability to sell spirits on Sundays. Currently, state law says cannot do it. Under the Republicans' proposal, which passed 62-47, it was close-ish. The bill would give retailers a 5-hour window between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. to sell liquor once approved by local governments. I'm sorry. I don't really care Like, I really don't care. Allow liquor stores to be open on Sunday or don't. But this, we're going to create a limited window of opportunity between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. because at 1 p.m., roughly 98.4% of our churches have dismissed, and we won't be infringing on their comfort levels. And most of them already will have driven past the liquor store onto the Mexican restaurant, and so they won't be able to cast judgment if we don't open until 1 o'clock. And if we close at 6 o'clock, nobody's going to see anything that's happening. Okay, just, would somebody use your brain? Either make a law that says a liquor store can be opened on Sunday and the hours of operation are from blank to blank, the same as days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Or say, no, liquor stores cannot be opened on Sunday. And move merrily along. But creating an hours of operation in which there's a 5-hour window on this particular day of the week because of the sensibilities of this group or that group, or it's the compromise that the Baptist preachers will allow even though they don't really like it, or just stop. Just use your brain. It's either okay or it's not okay, but hey, it's okay if it's a 5-hour window.
It's okay to go to a gas station and get CBD and beer and wine on a Sunday anytime you want.
Now, hold on. It used to not be okay to buy beer on Sunday. You had to buy enough beer on Saturday to get yourself to Monday. And in some places, you could only buy it hot because then it was going to be your responsibility to ice it, or maybe somebody in government owned the local ice house and thought it was a great idea to make you cool it down with their, like the blue laws that legislate morality are almost incomprehensible at this point of our lives. And the fact that we have laws that decide this and we debate this, and yet here we are. And I took more time on that than I certainly intended to do. Oh yeah, you can ship alcohol to your residence. Got to be 21. 15.5% tax. The shipper has to have a direct shipper's permit. Got to pay a fee for that. On and on and on.
And remember, we statewide finally got rid of prohibition January 1st, 2021. Come a long way since then, Richard.
And please understand in all of this, I am not advocating the consumption of alcohol for it or against it. I'm not telling you should or you shouldn't. I'm not telling you how you should feel about it. I'm not telling you we should allow the liquor stores to be open on Sundays or not. Like, none of that. I don't even have an opinion on that. I just have an opinion on the absurdity of the way we are potentially looking at writing a law like this. Like, either do it or don't. But the half measure of, well, you know, we can appeal to the sensibilities of this group and we can bend our will to this group if we go with this 5-hour window, the magical 5-hour window in the middle of the day on Sunday, because that will make it less offensive. That will lead to just... I mean, I live in Oxford. There was a time where they were debating about longer bar hours and whether or not any bar could open on Sunday. Man, the arguments of, you're going to turn Oxford into Bourbon Street. Oh, they were shouted from the rooftops or the steeples. They were. And you know what Oxford is on Sunday? Not Bourbon Street. It's just a place where you can go and eat. And if you choose to have a cocktail or a beer, you can do that.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
To start your day, it's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Now, here's more with Richard Cross.
Time for your Mississippi Lottery update, mslottery.com. Can you buy lottery tickets on Sunday?
I think so, right? I think you can buy them anytime. I mean, once the cutoff.
Like during the normal selling hours, or is it like only?
Let me see on that.
I think I'm kidding, Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost 100%. You can get those on Sunday. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that I'm kidding. Powerball estimated jackpot for tonight's drawing is $126 million, closing in on $60 million in terms of cash value. Mega Millions numbers last night were 5, 25, 30, 36, 68. The Mega Ball was 6. No jackpot winner, which means the jackpot for Friday night's drawing, $385 million. $174,200,000. That is the estimated cash value. Time running out on 2 unclaimed $2 million winning tickets that are going to expire later this month. A $2 million Mega Millions ticket that was purchased at Pilot Travel Center in Moss Point expires February 22nd. One day later, February 23rd, a $2 million Powerball ticket that was sold at Mike's Food and Gas in Coldwater. That one expires as well. That is $4 million waiting to be claimed. Check your tickets. I mean, it would be a great couch cushion find if it happened at your house, so be sure to check that out. Mississippi Lottery update brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery online at mslottery.com. Your morning sports update is brought to you by Pearl River Resort online at pearlriverresort.com. Your home for family thrills, casino fun, and live entertainment. Don't forget to make your tee time at the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. DancingRabbitGolf.com, 2 18-hole championship courses. The Oaks and the Azaleas, a great time of year to be on the golf course. Business giant and Ole Miss football legend Jim Poole Jr. passed away at the age of 76 in Jackson on Sunday. He was a former All-SEC tight end for the Rebels, founder of multiple Mississippi-based accounting firms, and a community servant who ministered to inmates. Helped Ole Miss to 25-9 in his time, plus 3 bowl appearances between 1969 and 1971 with 110 career catches for almost 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns. Signed a free agent deal with the New York Giants, inducted into the Ole Miss M Club Hall of Fame in 2025. Honored last fall by the university's chapter of the National Football Foundation and the College Hall of Fame with its Distinguished American Award. Jim Poole, also the co-founder of the accounting firm Grantham Poole, which grew into one of the Southeast's largest regional accounting firms and is recognized for its expertise in designing audit ethics and governance programs for clients. Jim Poole passed away at the age of 76. Conversation about Canada once again becoming a 51st state, bubbling again. Yes, this is part of the sports update. After last night's beatdown of the Canadians by the U.S. women's hockey team, a 5-0 victory, the United States told Canada that it was its daddy and would take them as the 50. I'm just making stuff up now. Not even true at all.
Starting the pot this morning.
But John Robalewski, the women's hockey team coach for the USA, following the 5-0 victory, immediately went into coach speak mode. He said, "What's the hardest part of climbing the mountain?" "Getting home," he said, answering his own question. "You feel good about climbing Mount Everest? It's the way down. Oh, you think you've done something, and that's when the mountain eats you up." This was just a preliminary round meeting. 5-0 was the final. All right. Who knew that the greatest, most intriguing story of and from the Olympics was going to come from biathlon? The former girlfriend of biathlon athlete Sturla Holm Legrid said it will be hard to forgive him for cheating on her. And for making a public display of it after he won an Olympic medal on Tuesday. It's hard to forgive, even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world, the woman said, who wished to remain anonymous. Richard, what are you talking about? Well, Lagrid, one of Norway's top biathletes, made his unexpected declaration after finishing third in the 20-kilometer individual race on Tuesday. Wait, what? He got a bronze medal, and then he stood on the podium and he said, 6 months ago I met the love of my life, the world's most beautiful, sweetest person. And 3 months ago I made the biggest mistake of my life and cheated on her. The woman in question said, I did not choose to be put in this position, and it hurts to have to be in it. We have had contact, and he is aware of my opinions on this. Lagrid said, I deeply regret that I brought up this personal story on what was a joyous day for Norwegian biathlon. I am not quite myself today. I am not thinking clearly. My apologies to the big winner. After all, I only finished in third place anyway. That's your sports update from Pearl River Resort.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
This is Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's do it.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Well, my daddy never wrote in the old famous country song. Papa never stayed out raising hell with the Haggard Jones. But he raised a proud coal miner's daughter, and I'm proud to be her son. She told me, boy, I don't care if you hit it big, cause you're already number one. And that's the way it goes.
Welcome again. It is Mornings of Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. You've got it locked in. We appreciate you starting your day, or at least partially starting your day with us. A little overcast, a little drizzly, maybe a little foggy in parts of the state of Mississippi. Might want to be one of those mornings where, if you have the opportunity, give yourself an extra minute or so getting out the door, trying to get kids to school and get your work day started. Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. At Community Bank, we're here for every part of your financial journey, whether you're looking to manage your personal finances, grow your business, or if you're dreaming of a new home, Community Bank would love the opportunity to help. Stop by a Community Bank near you. Talk to the people there, outstanding people, going to listen to your needs and help you figure out what is best and what works and how they can work with you. Community Bank, rooted in our community, member FDIC. The C Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395, 601-879-4395. Give your business the edge with gigabit or faster fiber internet from C Spire Business. Learn more online at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired. You're going to have to indulge me just for a second. I have to go back and read you a couple of these quotes, just in case you weren't with us at the end of the 6 o'clock hour. Maybe you just got in the car and flipped the car on. I said the most interesting story from the Olympics so far comes from biathlon, when a Norwegian biathlete finished third and decided to proclaim to the world what a mistake he had made. He said, 6 months ago, I met the love of my life, the world's most beautiful, sweetest person, and 3 months ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life and cheated on her. My man finished in third place, takes all the shine off the winner, makes it all about him, and oh, by the way, the woman that he cheated on didn't really want to be out on Front Street in the first place, and somehow he thought this was going to be better. She was the love of his life for 3 months until he cheated on her. And then he kind of realized that he stepped in it just a bit and said, I deeply regret that I brought up this personal story on what was a joyous day for Norwegian biathlon. I am not quite myself today, and I am not thinking clearly. Yeah, that seems to be a pattern for you, pal.
Yeah, a little cuckoo there.
He goes on to say, my apologies to Johan Olav, who deserved all the attention after winning gold. Yeah, he did. Then also apologies to my ex-girlfriend, who unwillingly ended up in the media spotlight. I hope she is doing well. I cannot undo this, but I will now put it behind me and focus on the Olympics. I will not answer any other further questions about this. I don't know, pal. I kind of feel like you opened yourself up to answer some questions about this.
No, they're going to find the woman he cheated on with. Hopefully it wasn't Johan Olav Botton's girlfriend. You know?
And after saying he had nothing else to say about it, he had more to say about it. It was a choice I made. We make different choices during our life, and that's how we make life. So today I make a choice to tell the world what I did. So maybe there is a chance she will see what she really means to me. Maybe not.
If I was her, I'd be running.
Yes, perhaps.
Run.
Maybe not, you freak show. Okay. I think we got two big stories to start the day with. And both of these stories, by the way, let's see. Ryan Miller going to join us in about 10 minutes. CEO of the Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. Always enjoy our conversations with Ryan. If he doesn't bring his guitar, we might just kick him right on out and keep talking about Johan the biathlon from Norway. Biathlete. I don't even think his name was Johan, but...
A biathlete.
Somebody in the story was named Johan. So we want to hear from Ryan Miller. A lot going on, but we need him to bring his guitar along. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. Leah Long will join us in the 8 o'clock hour as well. She is with the National Federation of Independent Small Businesses over Mississippi and Louisiana. So that's what's coming up. Have you seen the story out of El Paso? We have far more questions than answers. I woke up to a notification from, I thought I was connecting dots. There was a Fox News update on my phone at like 5:12 this morning. And it said FAA halts all El Paso airport flights for special security reasons. And I thought, well, they caught this guy that took Nancy Guthrie, and for some reason they're shut. No. Apparently not related. This was from the AP at just after 5 a.m. The Federal Aviation Administration is closing the airspace around El Paso International Airport in Texas for 10 days, grounding all flights to and from the airport. A notice on the FAA's website said the temporary flight restrictions were for, quote, special security reasons, close quote, but did not provide additional details. The closure does not include Mexican airspace. I'm assuming because we don't have the authority to close down Mexican airspace. Right? The airport said in an Instagram post, so this is the El Paso International Airport, and an Instagram post said all flights to and from the airport would be grounded from late Tuesday through late on February 20th. Today's the 11th. Including commercial, cargo, and general aviation flights. Suggest travelers contact their airlines to get up-to-date flight information. All right, let's just talk about what this means for a second. Commercial, easy enough to understand, right? American, Delta, United, Southwest, Spirit, Frontier, regional airlines, none of that. Cargo. UPS, FedEx, DHL, private carriers, general aviation, your Cessna 172, your King Air 350, your Gulfstream 550, your Challenger 300, your Boeing business jet, your single engine hanging on by a thread, feeling like you're flying in a kite in the open air. All of it shut down for 10 days. Shutdown likely to create significant disruptions given the duration and the size of the metropolitan area. El Paso, a border city with a population of nearly 700,000 and larger when you include the surrounding metro area, a hub of cross-border commerce alongside Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. And for now, that's about it in terms of the news related to the FAA shutdown in El Paso. Where does that take your mind?
I think it's the Chupacabra.
That is one place it could take your mind. There's some sort of an operation coming? It is a very curious decision with very limited details from the FAA. Hopefully, we'll get some more info, but man, does this leave you with questions. What is going on in and around El Paso, right there on the American-Mexico border? Mornings of Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV. Thanks for joining us. Ryan Miller coming up next with you.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Since you're up early, you get the news first. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
We'll see if we can make each other laugh this morning. C-Spire text line open to you, 601-879-4395. By the way, Lance is off to a good start.
Thank you.
Since we don't know, and we can amend this if it turns out that it's something that's very, very serious and not a laughing or joking matter at all. But since right now we have no idea why it is that the FAA has closed the airspace in and around El Paso for 10 days, tell us why you think it's closed. Wrong answers only on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. We'll work through some of those. But right now, we will visit with our friend, my friend, Ryan Miller. He is the CEO of the Oxford-Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. I said a little while ago, I don't know if you were listening, probably not, that if you didn't show up with your guitar today, that we were just going to kick you out and not even talk to you. I see him looking for the guitar.
I have this guitar. Can I? I mean, it's still a guitar technically.
It is. That is the pride of Cleveland, Mississippi, right there. A great gift from the city of Cleveland, isn't it?
It is a gift that the state of Mississippi put together for the Blues Trail when we had a Seuss Japan conference here a few years ago. So when Japanese guests were coming, they got little keepsakes like that. Pretty cool little souvenir.
Very good. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Doing well. Always a pleasure to visit with you and to hear about the progress. It's been a few months since we've talked on the air, and you kind of gave us the rundown on the multi-county regional partnership, Lafayette County, Panola County, Yellowbush County, and and Tate County, but it was very much in the idea stage when we last talked about. Yeah, give us kind of an update on where that is as we start things off.
Sure. So, as an alliance, we meet regularly, once a month, sometimes more. And typically what we're doing now that our organization is alive and is breathing and has runway in front of it, is we're trying to identify those parcels of land and geography that make the most sense as an alliance to develop together. So whether they be mega sites or whether they be just geographically strategic sites that are close proximity to the interstate. And then also aligning resources from the county and the state to try to help develop those parcels to be more attractive to projects as they come in. So we're kind of in the exploratory stage of finding some large sites that might be available to help us win some projects collectively.
I am curious what the life cycle of one of these partnerships looks like, because it's like, hey, we ought to get together, and then you kind of formally get together, and then it's like, okay, you got to have some meetings, and okay, what is it we're trying to do here? Mm-hmm. But you have reached the point where there is legitimate activity that lays the groundwork for whatever one of these big projects might look like down the line?
Yeah, sure. And I think it's important to remember those kinds of projects take a long time, years in the making to be organized. I mean, if you look at the link over in Golden Triangle, if you look at, ADP down in Hattiesburg and some of the partnerships that they've had, those take a long time to put together. Another good example is the Pole Alliance. Those folks got together and put their creative minds in high gear. But it takes time, even once those alliances have been formed, to identify those parcels, excuse me, understand what new utilities and what sorts of infrastructure need to go in place, even well before a project might come knocking on your door. So right now there's a lot of work to do. We're very busy, but in terms of landing that big project, we're trying to lay the groundwork now so that whether it's next year or the next 10 years, we're in a much better position to attract those projects that we know are wanting to come to Mississippi into the Southeast market. So
a couple of months ago, we're visiting with some of the folks in Lamar County and that greater Hattiesburg area, Pine Belt, and they've got one of these sites that they've done this on, right, where they've all kind of worked together and gotten there, but they're now in that waiting game part where they're going after projects and have been close and finished second maybe a couple of times, and this waiting game can be really, really difficult and kind of test the mettle of all of the parties that are involved about the long game, right?
Well, there's no question that everyone has high expectation to see these projects come to fruition quickly. I would say part of the challenge here is that you see so many announcements in the state of Mississippi over the last few years, large projects that have located in different parts of the state of Mississippi, and so people get used to this winning projects. We want to see that continue, but often is the case. Those projects that we're winning, we had to be doing things 10 years ago in order to be prepared to receive those projects. And the group down in Hattiesburg, I know Todd Jackson and Chad Newell very, very well. And in fact, worked with them in my previous role on some of those projects for their Eagle One site that they have there. I want to say Eagle Rare, but I know it's too early in the morning for Eagle Rare. Eagle One site.
Perhaps between 1 and 6 on Sundays in the near future. Maybe.
Yes, good call. But yeah, it's taken them a long time to get that site to where it needed to be, and that took conversations and cooperation years ago from the county surrounding that area to decide and agree that's what they wanted to do. So they will be successful. They will land a project there. It's a great site, and just like that for us, when we have identified the site that makes the most sense for our alliance, putting resource into it and being very strategic about what we go after, we will see success there. It just takes time.
All right, Ryan, this comes from Jamie in Oxford of the C Spire text line, and I don't mean for this to be a controversial question if it is. When you talk about a regional partnership, the location matters because, at least in theory, the tax revenue generated in a particular county is tax revenue that would go to that county. So how do you get everybody to pull in the same direction versus getting into like some backbiting where it's like, well, no, I want it on my side of the county line or that side of the county line?
Yeah, I think that is a challenge. So it takes a lot of open dialogue, honest dialogue on the front end, and also understanding what works for your community and what doesn't. As I've said many, many times before, Oxford, Mississippi does not have, and Lafayette County doesn't have the population density for a 2,000 employee project right now. We just don't. We have 3 very large employers in our community, the University Baptist Hospital and Olin Winchester, and there are substantial percentages of the workforce that are in those 3 businesses that live and work outside or live outside of Oxford and Lafayette County and actually commute every day. We don't have the permanent population density to be able to sustain some of those kinds of projects. Well, maybe Panola does, maybe Tate does because of their proximity to I-55 and a closer proximity to the Memphis market. If we as Lafayette County can partner and yes, put resource, maybe a proportionate resource based upon the benefit that we would get out. If we help land a project there are going to be ancillary businesses that are smaller, tiers 1, 2, 3 suppliers that might be smaller in numbers and job count that would make much more sense for our community that would not have been here were it not for that large project that we helped Panola or Tate County land. So it's being very crystal clear on the front end how much each group is going to put in, percentage of what they would get back in terms of tax revenue. All these regional alliances that you will see have agreements in place that deal with that type of the cost sharing as well as the benefit and the percentages that we get back as a partner in that. And it's just being very honest and open on the front end to make sure we're all on the same page.
It's not a pushback, but I'm curious. One of the things that we've always heard about Tupelo is that it has a population that swells to 3, maybe even 4 times the actual city population during working hours during the week. Like it goes from a city of 35,000 to well over 100,000 during working hours. And in the past, that's because, of the furniture markets and the hospital and other industry that's coming in. Why is that not something that would work for Lafayette County? Does it have to do with highways that are coming in or surrounding population, or is that just not the right model?
Yeah. No. I think, our population swells too. It
does.
We probably have, 80,000 people that are here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So it does work. But in terms of a tax base that you have permanent here, that the real benefit of having people living in your community and contributing to the tax base certainly would be beneficial. We'd like to see more of that permanent resident there. But yeah, there are some, you look at a Tupelo, and I know David Rumbarger at CDF, they've done an amazing job there working in that community to grow and build opportunity. They do have infrastructure and instrumentalities of interstate commerce that are more far-reaching than ours. They've got interstates running through their community. They have active rail. They're within just a few miles of navigable waterway. So it is a little bit of a different animal just because of geography.
If you had the term navigable waterway on your bingo card this morning, you are a winner. We got more with Ryan Miller, Chief Executive with the Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation, coming up with you right after this. Is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
My transistor radio comes from far away, and when it's night over here, over there, it's breaking day.
February 11th, 2026. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks for spending part of the start of your day with us. Lance in the studio. I'm Richard, and Ryan Miller is my guest. He is the CEO of the Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. So, Ryan, we started out talking about partnerships, regional partnerships. They're something that have been somewhat of a success model for a number of places in Mississippi, and Lafayette County involved in one of those. But you don't have like CEO of regional partnerships on the business card. It's Lafayette and Oxford and the community here. So how do you balance those two things? A focus on projects that are specific to Oxford and Lafayette County versus projects that are more regional in nature that might make sense not just for Oxford but for surrounding areas as well.
Yeah, so obviously the majority of my time, the lion's share of my time, is focusing on bringing opportunity to Oxford, Lafayette County, and certainly to the university construct as well. So I do use our new strategic plan as the lens to focus on those efforts, which that plan, because it's specifically designed for our community, helps me differentiate between what I can go after or should go after for Oxford and Lafayette County versus what would be more appropriate for a larger scale alliance-based project. So 99% of my time is focused on the four target market sectors that we've identified, helping businesses that fall within those sectors already that are here to grow, expand, bring more people on, but then also to attract new businesses to come to Oxford and Lafayette County that fall within those sectors. That's my primary focus, and it needs to be.
Is that proprietary, or is that something you can talk about what those four sectors are?
Would love to. And, so we use the Boyette Strategic Advisors Group out of Little Rock to help us do this. Dell has had years of working in economic development and working on economic and community development to devise plans for communities. And the four target markets that make the most sense for us, it's no brainer that healthcare is the number one or one of the largest of those four sectors, just because of the growing population in Oxford County with retirees, top retiree destinations per capita, location for school, the provision need for health growing is the new technologies and innovations that fall within the medical sector. So we want to be a destination, not just for providers like Baptist and then all the small entrepreneurial doctors, nurses, and clinics that have popped up, but also for new medical technologies, pharmaceutical R&D, pharmaceutical manufacturing, medical device manufacturing. With the university being in proximity to us and the programs that they have there, it makes a lot of sense that would be a huge target market for us. So healthcare, banking and finance is one that we've identified, and not just more banks. I think, Richard, you and I can both attest to the fact that beyond lawyers, there are probably more bankers per capita here in Oxford than there are a lot of other places. But I've made no bones about the fact I would love to see Oxford become a financial district for the state of Mississippi. I know that's a bold and maybe very aspirational goal, but it makes sense to me, again, because we have resources and an ecosystem that's already growing here. So banking and finance and all the technologies that go around, fintech, insurtech, that's another target market. Entrepreneurial is always going to be something that we focus on. Yeah. Another target market is how do we help young entrepreneurs? Your family, you have a business. Your family there's a business in your family. How do I help businesses like that grow higher and create more revenue streams for them? So it's not proprietary. It's something that we beat the drums on every single day to try to recruit more businesses and help grow businesses here in those sectors.
And I think I missed the very first thing you said, but we had just a little internet garble. So I got you at medical, and then what was immediately before medical where you started out?
Yeah, it's just healthcare in general.
Okay, gotcha.
Healthcare lens in general. Yeah. And look, and I've talked to the university a number of times. We have a medical school attached to our university, not physically, but certainly programmatically. We have a pharmacy school, natural products research center, nursing program, biomedical engineering. It makes perfect sense that should be an area that we plant a flag in our community.
When you were working at the state level, I know you had a lot of interaction with the governor and kind of his big picture ideas. And one of the things that Tate Reeves has preached over and over has been, as we've talked about economic development and through that lens, the ultimate goal being raising the per capita income for individuals across the entire state of Mississippi. And I think it's like the whole idea of, if you can get everybody on average to a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year wage, then a lot of the other problems that we have in a lot of other areas can kind of take care of themselves. Is there a target number when you look at Oxford and Lafayette County where, because of the cost of living or the cost of housing, you need to have kind of an average across the board of, hey, this is the per capita wage that we're looking at?
Yeah, so I won't paint myself too far into a corner in terms of giving you specific number or two, but I will say this. We've had projects that have said they were interested in coming to Lafayette County, that when you look at the wages, a good job count, a good number of jobs, but jobs that pay, $44,000 a year, it's hard to say we need to prioritize a project like that for our community when the cost of living is high, when you already have employers that pay above that still have a challenge of bringing people in to live and work in closer proximity to their facility. So there is kind of a range that we have to look at, and I think when you look at the target markets that we have in our strategic plan, by and large, those are markets that do pay higher and above that median household income, higher than probably $47,000 a year. That's probably what we have to start looking at and be much more aggressive in going after. And it's certainly not taken away from some of the jobs that are associated with those kinds of projects that can be meaningful careers. I'm just trying to find balance in the portfolio that we have, knowing what it costs to live here, knowing when I came back up to Oxford after being gone for 3 years, and being shocked to see how much a shovel of dirt costs in Lafayette County just after 3 years of having been gone. I know that that's a challenge, and it puts us in a position here in the economic development world of being aggressive towards those jobs that we know have a higher sticker price per job. And that means that we have to make tough decisions and means that we have to pick and choose what we go after. But I think as our plan is dictated to us, that's the only choice and option we have.
Ryan, you've always been, and I think full disclosure, Ryan and I've known each other for a long time, and I think a lot of him. You've always been goal-oriented and driven and have been successful in the things that you've done. What is a timeline for you in terms of seeing some of the projects that you're recruiting, some of these business entities that you're looking at and trying to say, hey, maybe Lafayette County and Oxford are the right home for you to see some wins. And there may already be some along the way, but in terms of steady in the pipeline and now not just recruiting, but seeing open their doors.
So I will tell you personally, I have incredibly high expectations for myself. This March will mark 2 years that I've been in this job. And in those first 2 years, my priority was just level setting. Organizationally, what do we as an organization need to be focused on? Developing that new plan. We hadn't had a plan since 1992 that was developed and deployed. I was in a position where I was trying to use the initial time frame to get the house in order. Now that I feel like we're starting to hit our stride. Yeah, I think the expectations for myself as well as my board. I answer to a board. I answer to an executive committee. They have high expectations to see results. So we have had some smaller wins. We do have some startups that are a direct result of our engagement with them. 17 employees here, 10 employees there. I want this year we're rolling out new programming that I hope gets our message out even further. I'm hopeful that in the next year and a half to 2 years, you will start to see much more traffic coming to our community because we've taken the time to get the house in order, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time. Always enjoy the visits, and we'll close with give me the greatest line from a Mark Chestnut song.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, Bubba Shot the Jukebox was probably one of his biggest hits. What did he say about he knew damn well what he was aiming at or whatever, the line where people were, he was very crystal clear about wanting to take out the jukebox because of the sad song it played. Mark Chestnut is a national treasure that I don't think gets as much notoriety as some of his colleagues of that time frame.
Yeah.
That's just my hot take. Oh, and by the way, navigable is a normal word. Everybody says it. You don't have to make fun of me because I used a word that is multiple polysyllabic. I don't know. I'll throw out some other good words.
Well, it's a little too
We
late
have
to
new
do the
bingo
right thing
card that's
now,
gonna
so
come on.
you can't retract it. Thank you, Ryan Miller,
I appreciate y'all.
CEO of the Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation, visiting with us. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Oh, and by the way, our biathlon friend from Norway, not technically, but kind of feels like he's going through the Big D, and don't mean Dallas.
I beg of you, dear Father, can you help me find my...
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
In the time that I have been at Super Talk, long time now. That music will always bring a smile to my face because a few years ago, when for the very first time SEC Media Days went to Dallas, the video and audio open for the Monday afternoon Sports Talk Mississippi from SEC Media Days that Will put together the theme of Dallas with pictures and subtitle. It was a work of art. Just
Will's awesome, isn't he?
Absolutely tremendous. One of the most talented things I've ever seen. And we just sat there and we laughed. Like it should have been big open after like, hey, welcome to Dallas, SEC Media Days, new members in the blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, it's fantastic. Just sat there and laughed. Glad to be with you. It's amazing what music can do for you, right? Where does it take your brain? What does it make you think about? What does it make you recall? What does it make you remember? It's all there. You can join the conversation on the C Spire text line. 601-879-4395. Whether you're looking for the best in wireless coverage, I travel a fair amount. Road travel and air travel as well, all over the Southeast and at times all over the country. I just don't have to ever worry about, hey, is my phone going to work? Nationwide 5G coverage. And the really cool thing about C Spire that's different than maybe some of the big national brands, like if you're in New York or Dallas or LA, you're like, oh, my phone service works great. But find yourself in the courtroom in Pittsburgh, Mississippi tomorrow and tell me how one of those national carriers does. Because I'm going to tell you what C Spire is going to do. It's going to crush it, just like it does where I sit right here in my office, just like it does if I'm in New York City or Chicago or L.A. or anywhere in between. Nationwide 5G coverage, fiber to the home. It's what makes us go every single day. Gigabit fiber internet. I have a line that runs directly into my office, and then it attaches and spider webs off and makes all these machines work, in addition to kids with TVs on and streaming and everything else. Fiber to the home, reasonable, affordable, reliable. And then, of course, business IT services from C Spire as well. Find them all online at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired. A source briefed by the FAA, this according to Pete Muntean, I guess he's a news guy in Texas. A source briefed by FAA tells me the El Paso flight ban was driven by operations from Biggs Army Airfield at Fort Bliss. The FAA acted after the Defense Department could not assure civilian flight safety. Does that mean training exercises? Does that mean testing bombs and missiles? drones. I don't know what it means. There's something going on at Biggs Army Airfield and Fort Bliss, not far from El Paso and the El Paso International Airport. I mean, you were talking about and I understand that El Paso is not the busiest airport in America, but if you take the Jackson Airport and say, with zero planning, zero announcement, we're closing Jackson for 10 days. We're closing GTR for 10 days. We're closing Memphis for 10 days or Little Rock for 10 days with no announcement. It is wildly disruptive and has a ripple effect to the entire industry. Now it'll recover and they'll figure it out and whatnot, but it's a big deal. Really big deal. One of the other things that quietly this administration has continued to talk about and to harp on is foreign ownership of American land. Here was Brooke Rollins talking more about that.
Hegseth is coming over to USDA. We'll be hosting an event, doing a press conference, and signing a memorandum of understanding that an unprecedented effort to ensure that our departments are working together. I appreciate you've always been so great to let me come on and talk about how farm security is national security, that before President Trump came into office, the consolidation of our farmlands, the foreign adversarial ownership of farmlands, especially from China and other places, has really been creeping up on our country. Now we have almost 300,000 acres owned by China. Of course, a lot of our food supply and food sources are now foreign, come from foreign sources, and we're working to reverse that while at the same time protecting our farmers, protecting our farmland from our foreign adversaries. So it's just another step in the right direction. I'm so proud of Secretary Hegseth.
It's the Farm Security Action Plan. Brooke Rollins continuing to bang the drum that farm security is national security. From the very beginning, I've had so many questions, but how do you implement it? How do you claw it back? They are trying to work through those answers. 8 o'clock hour on the way.
On your radio, on our app, or on your smart speaker. We're always free. SuperTalk Mississippi, your home for mornings with Richard Cross.
Bound to die, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound up, watch on band.
Thanks for joining us. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, 8 o'clock hour. Glad to have you along. We are presented every day by Community Bank. Online at communitybank.net. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Thanks for joining us with Lance Tolbert. I'm Richard Cross. You can be part of the conversation on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Again, 601-879-4395. I feel like almost every time we visit, Leah Long is joining us from the road as she is making her way from business to business across the state of Mississippi and Louisiana. We get her on the live stream today. Leah, thanks as always for your time. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Luckily, I am not in the car today, although my neighbor appears to be doing construction. So I don't know if you would rather me in the car or hear that in the background. So
I think you're okay.
Which first day?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can make it work. Let's start with jobs numbers that popped this morning. January jobs numbers, and seemingly a surprise in the good direction for the Trump administration.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of in our latest optimism report, kind of employment report too, that the job market's kind of balanced right now. We do still have some people out there saying, they're having a hard time with labor quality, finding those skilled workers. And so I know that's something they're addressing in the legislature this session, and I'm interested to see how those bills play out.
Where's your level of trust on job numbers right now when we go month to month? Because I remember I guess it was the fourth quarter of last year, we were looking at numbers and then they were adjusting the numbers, and then we had a break and we're like, well, we're not going to get any numbers at all for this month. And is it something that we were dwelling too heavily on, or do you have a reasonable amount of trust in what we're seeing?
I mean, I think you got to take it both sides. I am trustworthy of what the numbers say, but I also know kind of what our small business owners are saying around the country, not just in Mississippi, but, Louisiana too. And, it does say they are kind of having job issues. 88% saying they had jobs that they needed to find qualified workers for. And that goes back, whether the jobs are there, it's about finding the skilled worker there. We can, find the job, there's jobs to be had, but if you don't have the worker and the right skill set, you can't fill those jobs. So, I think that is a kind of balancing game between what the jobs look like and is there actual qualified workers there doing those jobs, and are they going to stay in those jobs?
There's this interesting interconnected relationship, I think, between the Independent Small Business Federation, which acts as an advocate and a lobbyist for small business, for these small businesses that need jobs, and for what the legislature is doing. You kind of alluded to this a second ago, because it's not just in Mississippi. In both Mississippi and Louisiana, there's this recognition of skilled labor that's needed. Trying to tie in with community colleges to make sure that they've got programs that are producing ready-to-work workers. When you look at what's happening in Jackson in particular right now with this legislative session, what are the bills, what are the conversations that are standing out to you?
The upskill bill is a big one. I know Lieutenant Governor's pushing it. It's kind of going through the House. To be able to have those certain programs, trade programs, and small business owners, that's big. Construction, transportation, contract work, that kind of stuff, whether you're a welder or not, being able to have that ability to have people go in and get that certificate and get them to work immediately. Some of these trade programs, they come out making almost six figures, and that's a huge thing. We've got to continue to increase the amount of jobs and the profitable money that these people can make, because it's going to continue to flow through Mississippi and make it better overall. And I think that's something Lieutenant Governor is pushing. I know the governor pushed that we've got to continue to build our workforce and make sure they can survive. And, we've kind of went through inflation, we went through COVID, we've done all this, people are struggling. And so it comes down to making sure that they have the right skill set to have a job they can provide for their family and, give back to Mississippi.
How do you define a small business?
So federally, on the federal level, it's 500 or less employees, and they're independently. They're not publicly traded. So,
okay.
Some small businesses are pretty big businesses. For example, our membership, we have some businesses that have 5 employees. We have some that have 400. So for us, it's mainly as they are independently owned.
Gotcha. No, I asked that because, I was thinking about scale and the ability to grow. And, my wife, I've told you before, is a business owner. And, she's in that 10 to 12 employees range. And they're hourly employees that kind of come and go. But then you talk about a business with 200 or 300 employees that's a huge economic development win in Mississippi or Louisiana. And federally, those are still considered to be small businesses, even though they are big business for a lot of places here.
Absolutely. And, that is the thing. We're bringing in businesses to Mississippi, and, we want to continue to grow big business. But I always love to say sometimes in those big businesses, I know Lieutenant Governor and Speaker White's talked a lot about the meta projects going around close to Vicksburg. And, some of these small business owners are going to be doing work on that project, even though it's in Louisiana and vice versa. Some of these things right on the state lines, these small business owners are doing work in those big projects.
Where's the area that you see the most need? We've heard the conversation about skilled labor for so long, but in terms of businesses that have openings, they have immediate opportunities like you were talking about a second ago, where right out of the gate with certain skills, you're making a 6-figure income. What are those jobs? What are those skills?
A lot of those are, the construction industry, transportation industry. Usually we see more job, openings in those industries, and also retail, retail jobs. We've all had a retail job at one point in our life. I always love to say, and sometimes those are hard to fill and to keep people, and it's seasonal too. A lot more retail thrive. They thrive in the, holiday season. Sometimes in their summer seasons, they're pretty slow. So you've got to be able to have enough people willing to work in those kind of industries also.
Yeah. Did you see any impact, or are we far enough removed from the winter storm that came through with all of that significant ice that honestly, I know I'm unique because I'm in Oxford and based in Oxford, and it felt like for a week, maybe a week and a half, it kind of the city ground to a halt. I know all of North Mississippi wasn't like that, but there was a lot of North Mississippi that was affected.
Yeah, so definitely, I think they're still working through that. Think of these businesses that were closed for a week or two, or maybe they had damage to their buildings. So I think we're still fighting through that. There was a lot of smaller buildings, smaller businesses that were affected. Think about just that whole crazy area that the snowstorm hit. I think we're still seeing some of the fallouts from that.
Yeah. Let's go back one last time to this legislative session in Jackson. We've talked about some of the things that you're focusing on. What does small business, using the definition that you used just a second ago, need most from the legislature right now?
I think just a continued focus on workforce development. There are a couple of bills that we did support. The sales tax exemption bill for ag, farming equipment, logging equipment. That's a big thing. We have a huge poultry and farming industry in Mississippi that are small business owners. And so that is going to definitely help them. And then there is a credit card swipe fee bill. I've talked on here a lot about it. Throughout the years, that is one of the biggest issues for small business owners. We have people out there paying more than, $10,000 a month. I mean, for instance, there's one that literally paid $80,000 in swipe fees. That's more than the rent they paid on their building that they operate their business in. And so I know they're working on the federal level to kind of adjust that. But, ideally, I would love to see it, remove the swipe fees off of the sales tax portion of that.
All right, so that's the particular bill. So right now, if you buy a product for $1 and you have to pay $1.07 for it because of income tax or because of sales tax, then the 0.285% or 0.0285% that a business is charged, that's on the $1.07, not on the dollar. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's on the $1.07. So currently you're paying the swipe fee on the full bill. Okay. And so to be able to remove that, because it's the money, the business owner's not even keeping the money. They're remitting it to the state, for tax purposes. So being able to level that out will save some money. It won't completely eliminate the issue, but it will save a little bit.
Are you optimistic that moves forward, or is this one of those where it's going to die in committee?
Well, it's died in the House it's got through the House the past several years. It dies in the Senate. I know they're kind of working on some companion bills in the Senate to kind of get the language the right way. So I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful on that. I've been, shouting that message for a couple of years now that would drastically help small business owners.
How many businesses that you're dealing with have just, whether they felt like it was the right thing to do ultimately or not, have said, hey, we've just got to tack on 3% for a convenience fee if you use credit cards? I feel like it has become almost across the board.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of restaurants that do that, especially in that industry. Just, it's just one of those things. But I think it comes down to you've got to pass that on to the consumer. And so I think that's a consumer choice at the end of the day. Are you going to continue to go and, eat at that restaurant that does that? But you also think about the retailers. If you're going to buy groceries in your local store, just think if they tack on 3%, how are you going to feel about that?
Yeah.
It's going to be a big difference. So some industries can more willingly do that than others.
It's like, as a consumer, would you rather them tack it on to the cost and not tell you, or give you that 3% at the end and make sure that you know where that money's coming from?
Exactly.
Leah, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Leah Long joining us from the Independent Small Business Federation for Mississippi and Louisiana.
From the Venable Glass Traffic,
where you come first for news. Fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I can hear 'em, they're buzzing, and I ain't done nothing since I woke up today.
How can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening, and have nothing to say?
Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery.
Good morning once again, and welcome back. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks to Leah Long for joining us from the Federation of Independent Small Businesses. She serves Mississippi and Louisiana primarily, spends a lot of time traveling and visiting with business owners Have you given any thought to that, Lance? You pay with a card, debit or credit. It has become common. You see that there is a what most people call a convenience fee for you to be able to swipe your card. This was a restaurant thing initially, but it has become almost an all retail thing. Don't really see it at big chain stores, at least not yet, at least not for the most part. But they pop you with 3% for the convenience of using your card, be it debit or credit.
I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but that's one of the things about convenience is, I mean, if you're going to swipe the card instead of carrying a bunch of bills, they're going to charge you for it. The end user pays those things generally. I love the way we consider, Bitcoin and all that as some free currency. It's not going to be free. There are going to be transaction fees and all that stuff on it. So, I mean, that's just the way of the world. And clearly the easiest way to buy something still is to walk in with a handful of cash. But you're probably going, if you go to an ATM that's not yours, you're going to pay a fee to conveniently get that money out. So,
but you don't get the airline points if you buy with cash.
That's right.
Or the cash back if you buy with cash, or the whatever.
But so, I mean, getting away from cash, there's going to be those convenience fees, and I don't see those things ever going away. There'll always be 1% or 1/4% or something.
Well, I think if you find 1/4%, you have scored. I think most people are dropping 3% on you.
Yeah, they're bumping them. I mean, back when I was bartending, there's usually about 1.5%. You'd have like a convenience fee. But, I mean, as anything, that's not inflation. That's just charging you straight up. It's I think we're always trying to push that envelope of how profit can be made. And
the thing that business owners are doing, they're going, hold on a second. I have a product. This product costs $100. With sales tax, we know it's going to be $107. And so I have to charge you $107. The $7 I have to pay in sales tax. So that gets automatically deducted from my account. So I'm back to charging you $100. If I let you pay with your credit card, I'm going to have to pay another 3%. Probably not actually 3%, but that seems to be what everybody's settled on. It's probably more like 0.185% or whatever. A lot of different rates that are negotiated on credit card transactions. And it also depends on which card you use.
There you go.
Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. American Express is going to have a higher fee, but if you've got a higher net worth customer for whatever product you're selling, you got to accept American Express because that's a card that many of them are going to use. So, as a business owner, do you have to say, it's part of the cost of doing business? That is not a profit center that I am going to see. Or do you add a convenience fee that might take your customer and have them go, why are they being so cheap? I can't believe that they are hitting me with 3% when I just spent X number of dollars with their business. Or when you price the item, do you decide what your retail price is going to be, and then instead of putting $100 on that item, do you price it at $102.99 or $103 even and build that in, and then give your customer the impression that, oh, well, this is nice. They're not hitting me with an extra convenience fee at checkout where I see I'm being charged more just to use my card. Would you rather that already be baked into the cost of the item?
Sounds like kind of a Price is Right thing,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like in almost all of those scenarios, the percentage, the ability for you to be able to use your credit card is being passed on to you.
Oh, definitely.
Almost all. The only one of those is where I said, do you just as a business owner go, it's just part of the cost of doing business?
I'm not sure I ever ran into anybody that wanted to eat that cost if they could transfer it to the end user.
Yeah.
So, I believe that'll be – it's like anything. The person using it's going to be the one that's going to be saddled with it.
Sure.
You're the one with the convenience of using the card. But I'm with some of our listeners saying if you don't accept cash, should there be a convenience fee on a credit card transaction? That's debatable. I think that's a good point, though.
Well, I mean, messages coming in. Cadence Bank Arena is no cash at events. Then you get the 3% convenience fee. Seems wrong when they force you to use a card.
There you go. Right.
Yes.
Choice is
look,
important.
It's not just there. Vaught Hemingway Stadium is cashless in Oxford. I think Duty Noble and Davis Wade are completely cashless in Starkville. Every NFL stadium you go to is completely cashless. They don't want the security risk of cash floating around. They just want it all to be digital. Here's one. This is Brandon in Oxford. We chose not to charge the fee at our store in Oxford, just part of business as usual. It worked out good for us. We've had many repeat customers because of that. Mike, small business owner. We are passing on the cost. He says, I bet your wife charges. Actually, she doesn't. But it is a very real conversation that we have had. And it's a conversation that a lot of business owners have had with each other. Marshall and Terry, if you're not going to take cash, you shouldn't charge a convenience fee. New Orleans bars have just about gone strictly card transactions. If I was a business owner where I was not working all day, every day, I would be very hesitant to accept cash. Walter and Tupelo, to me, it depends on the business. A coffee shop charging me 3% on a $6 purchase is understandable. If I'm at a nice local restaurant and spend $250 on a meal for my wife and me, then the charge is ridiculous. That's from Walter and Tupelo. And you could also spin this forward into tipping. Jason says, and you get the nice bank fees every month. So if you spin it forward to tipping, then you get into a philosophical conversation about tipping. So, here you go. $100. We're just going to go back to that example because the math's really easy. Let's say your sales tax is 9% because of food and beverage taxes or whatever. So your $100 meal is now $109. Are you tipping on $100 or are you tipping on $109? Probably doesn't make that much of a difference in this example because you're talking about $2 difference. If it's a $1,000 bill, it's a $10,000 bill, for whatever reason, that which number you're tipping off of becomes pretty significant. And even when it's small money, say it's a $100 bill, instead of if you tip 20% on a $100 bill, you're leaving $120. But now if you've got a $109 bill, are you going to go, okay, $10.90, so that's almost 22. Okay, I'll round it up to 22. And if you do that, extra $2 times 500 times over the course of the year, or 100 times over the course of the now it's real money. And that, it's just $2, doesn't matter. And then what if they charge you a 3% fee on top of what you tip for the right to use the credit card? Hey. Is it any wonder that we all feel like we're broke, regardless of how much money you make? Is there any wonder that it feels like we just go through this, like, I just can't slow the money down that's going out? It's constant. It's everywhere. Quick timeout. Mornings with Richard Cross. Presented by Community Bank, online at communitybank.net. We're back with you right after this.
You come first for news. Fast and free. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
About half an hour left with you, MRC, on Super Talk Mississippi. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning, middle of the week, February the 11th. Tomorrow, February the 12th, you are invited to the Sale of Champions, the Dixie National Rodeo, where the Mississippi Farm Bureau Federation and Dixie National go hand in hand. And nothing, I mean nothing, says Mississippi Farm Bureau and Dixie National Rodeo Sale of Champions quite like Middays with Gerard Gibbert at the Trademark. They're all teaming up tomorrow to help grow the future of our state's agriculture at the Sale of Champions. The event also brought to you by the Mississippi Beef Council. Do they still say beef, it's what's for dinner? I think they do.
I hope so.
I'm going to go with that. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Dum, dum, dum. I loved their commercials.
Oh, they're the best.
Mississippi Beef Council does awesome stuff. I don't know if that is the current ad campaign for the Mississippi Beef Council or not, but you remember that doom, 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 and then you see the sizzling steaks and whatever, and it all at the end it goes boom, 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 beef. It's what's for dinner. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
Who, me? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm way older than you, man. I know that like
so
the back of my hand.
You remember the? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. Your silence made me think.
no,
wow, Richard, you were on an island of one on that.
Well, that would always make my mouth water. I mean, we ate a steak every Sunday of my life growing up. So
At home,
yeah,
or
at
was
home.
this like
no,
a
no.
go out thing?
We cooked at the house. I mean,
Okay.
it was we always had steaks on Sunday and baked potatoes and all that. So yeah, the beef is what's for dinner. Actually, was in my home where I grew up was the way it was about 6-7 days a week. You know,
Love it. I've got a good buddy of mine, high school and into college. You remember when we like the license plate on the front of your vehicle said something about you, or you picked it?
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere you looked, you saw the Cotton Incorporated tags, especially for the folks from the Delta. Saw a lot of John Deere tags. At one point, I had one of those "nothing runs like a deer" tags on the front of my truck, and thought it was a great. Buddy of mine had beef.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. It just said beef.
There's
on
a bunch of them around
on
here.
the plate on the front of his car.
there are a bunch still here. I mean, you still got a lot of cattle farming around this area, ranching, and beef is a very the white tag with the red beef. Yeah, you see it all the time in the Central Mississippi area still.
Yes.
Usually it's a truck. You don't see that on a car or a van very often. But yeah, it's always a truck. Got a little mud maybe on the edge there. They've been working.
Yeah.
Makes me envious.
I always would laugh when every great once in a while Thomas is gonna make a joke here, and he's gonna say, "Hey, see, I told you," whatever. So this is so incredibly stereotypical of what the Delta once was. So just bear with me. I still thought it was funny. Yes, the farmer with the truck with the mud on it, and in the mid-'90s, the car of choice for a lot of big Delta farm wives, it was a big old Cadillac. This was before the SUV craze. I mean, it's just what a lot of people drove.
I mean, I had a boss. That's all he would drive. And if we ever had to rent a car, you had to drive a Caddy. You'd wait a day.
Yeah.
But you had to show up in a Cadillac.
Lance, I would occasionally see one of those Cotton Incorporated tags on the front of a Cadillac, and it would just make me laugh. I'm like, you know what? I appreciate the loyalty to the family brand right there.
There you go. Well, just because you live in the Delta and you're a farmer does not mean you cannot have one of those extremely nice vehicles. If you're doing well with it, and many farmers do. I know it's a tight business, but I mean it's tight. You got to be a good business person to navigate Mother Earth, and her challenges and all that. But those that do well at it, man, I mean, it's a sight to see. I mean, the equipment, the lifestyle. I mean, it is extremely risky. And I spent 16 years in finance. That's risky, but the business of farming, So if you got a caddy, I bring it on, man. I think you should.
I like the we get a message picture, somebody with the hanging from the rearview mirror, the beef. It's what's for dinner tag. Somebody said my favorite is eat rice, potatoes make your butt big. That's good. That's good. There's some creative folks out there. All right, so there is pressure, seemingly real pressure at this point from both the White House and the House of Representatives for the Senate to do what people are demanding they do, and that is pass the Save America Act. Back on April 10th of 2025, the House passed it, requiring proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. The removal of non-citizens from voter rolls and the requirement of voter ID, which is a new addition to the SAVE Act that was passed in April 10th. I guess that was the Save America Act, and now we're on the SAVE Act. Or maybe it's vice versa. Anna Paulina Luna, one of the representatives, as she was on Fox Business Channel, and she had a message directly for the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune.
This is really 100% on Leader Thune. I know for a fact the American people have told their senators what they want, both the Democrats and Republicans. I think the number for Democrats is over 71%. Even Fetterman came out in support of this, which we know that Fetterman might not align with us all the time, but on this issue, he's pretty good, and here's what his own people want. And so, again, this is something that the Senate is going to have to act on. But look, I'm not going to hold my breath. If I did, I'd probably pass out before the Senate decided to actually do something. And so what I'm anticipating is if they don't do the right thing, we're going to have to stick it on FISA. FISA's must pass. That's the only way we're going to get it done, but we will get it done. And it's good that Speaker Johnson is on the same page on this issue, as well as the president so vocally supporting it.
All right, that's Anna Paulina Luna, representative from Florida, talking about the need for the Senate to get this done. There's a cost and a benefit to everything, right? And so that maybe is what John Thune is weighing. Like, what is the cost of getting this through the Senate for me, for us, for Republicans? What's the benefit? What's the drawback? I don't know. So the potential cost is blowing up the filibuster and opening the door for Democrats to be able to use that tool down the line should they so choose. I just got a quick, just a thinking out loud question. And we've gone to this a number of times. I'm just going to ask it a different way. Given what the Democrats think of Donald Trump, given what the Democrats think of Republicans in Washington right now, given the run of success that Republicans have had with some of the big key issues, do you think Chuck Schumer would eliminate the filibuster if he had a small margin in the Senate right now and he thought it would be to his advantage to enact his policies? Simple yes or no question. Do you think Chuck Schumer would use it? If the answer is no, in your mind, I'm skeptical as to why you think that. I might raise my eyebrows a little bit, but okay. If the answer to that question is yes, then my question is, why have you not used it 11 months ago? And why have you not rammed so much legislation through and just shoved it down the throat of Democrats and done what you and Donald Trump said you were going to do throughout the course of election beyond just with executive orders, and followed through. And every single time you pass a bill that you promised you were going to pass during a campaign season, you remind people, just like we told you we were going to do. But instead, we're spending a lot of time debating about the talking filibuster versus the silent filibuster. And how long will Democrats be able to hold out? And how long will Republicans be able to listen? And do you have the votes? And, well, John Fetterman's coming over, and he's for it, but there's a 60-vote threshold, and you can't get there. I understand that there are checks and there are balances and there are rules that are in place so that we don't get to a spot where when one party is in power or the other, they're able to just shove everything down your throat. But are you smart enough to recognize when the rules of the game change? I'm not talking about the formal rules. I'm talking about the rules by which the other team plays. And if you are a Republican in the Senate or on Capitol Hill or in an elected office at the national level and you don't recognize that Democrats are playing by a different set of rules, that's a you problem.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
From the heart of Mississippi to the halls of Washington, D.C., this is Mornings with Richard Cross, your source for hard-hitting political insight and unfiltered truth. Now, here's more on Super Talk Mississippi.
Kinda hangs in the air. Rednecks, white socks, and blue ribbon beer. The cowboys cussing, the pinball
Did David's big voice say unfiltered truth and hard-hitting political insight? Was that the characterization?
Yeah. He knows you very well.
Very good.
We keep getting we need an unfiltered Mornings with Richard Cross. I don't know about that, guys. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I think this version is probably the right version.
Yeah. It keeps us out of trouble.
Knowing that from time to time we might get to the edge. I'll tell you something about me right now. I don't know if any of you can relate to this or not. There's a story that you can read at supertalk.fm that is one of the most I feel like everybody has a fear of dying in some particular way. Right, there are people that are like, I have this this incredible fear of getting run over by a Mack truck, or I have an incredible fear of being bitten by a snake and not being able to get to the emergency room on time or whatever. I don't know how much time you've spent in the Delta. I have evolved. When Jane and I started dating, I had spent very little time in the Delta. She was from Clarksdale, lived out at Moon Lake. And I'll tell you how not from the Delta I was. I asked a question about those silos one day. And I go, silos? What are you talking about? I said, yeah, the big cone shit. Those are grain bins. Fair enough. Don't think I ever made the mistake again. We don't have silos in the Delta. We got grain bins in the Delta. And we mowed a lot of grass around grain bins. Usually get a big area. And I would look at those big grain bins, and I had two thoughts. One, do you know how much fun it would be to go full-on Scrooge McDuck style? Diving off that diving board into his, cauldron of gold coins and swimming through. What if you could do that in a grain bin? And then my other thought was, Man, can you imagine being trapped inside one of those grain bins? Well, a man has been rescued after being trapped in a Yazoo County grain bin. Officials said the incident occurred on Monday at a farm on Whites Lane Road, where the unidentified man was trapped in a corn bin for several hours. First responders from surrounding counties arrived at the scene to help with the rescue mission, where the man was safely removed from the bin and transported to a local hospital. They came out. Personnel from the Indianola, Sunflower County, LaFleur County, Ridgeland, Madison, and Yazoo fire departments all showed up, along with the Madison County and Yazoo County emergency management agencies and the Yazoo County Sheriff. Everybody showed up. UMMC Air Care, Pafford Emergency Medical Services, all assisting in the rescue of this man trapped inside a grain bin. Statement from UMMC Air Care reads this way. Sometimes a situation arises and all the right people with all the right training and all the right tools come together at the same time to risk their own safety and to help someone they have never met. Today in Yazoo County, that happened to effect a technical rescue of a man trapped and sinking in a grain bin. Watching these teams work together was truly amazing to witness and to be involved in. The man is said to be in stable condition. You think about the way a massive pile of corn works when you've got nothing but corn surrounding you. You pull it away from you, and then you let go to pull away some more, and it immediately fills back in. That was a complicated rescue operation. And the whole Scrooge McDuck idea kind of goes away pretty quickly. Kudos to all those agencies working together. And, man, thank goodness the man is okay.
Yeah, I hope. Maybe he had his phone with him, and that was the saving grace there, because I can't imagine how anyone would have heard you in one of those things if you
No.
were
Like, they knew you were in there and you fell, and somebody saw it. But, if you're on your own with no phone, ain't no way out. There are a lot of people that have to, you got workers and Farm Service Agency people and farmers themselves that have to measure what's in those grain bins all the time. Be careful. Be careful out there, friends. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi, presented by Community Bank. For Lance, I'm Richard. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
I'm not known for doing a lot, but I do my best work when the weather's hot. I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.